Amrita. Thank you very much, Khaki, for inviting me for the today's talk. And so, let us begin. So,
Sure.
today's topic is about the man who avenged Bhagat Singh. And I should tell you about this. Let us first discuss about Bhagat Singh himself. So, basically, when we say the name of Bhagat Singh, of course, we are all fan of him. And he was one of the greatest revolutionaries of the world in the world history has ever produced. So basically, when we talk about Bhagat Singh, we majorly know only few things about him, which are more, let's say, popular in social media or popular culture, or we know it through the textbooks or cinema. That are first he formed the HSRA, and then he shot the John P. Saunders for avenging the death of Lala Lajpat Rai. And then he went on to bomb the Delhi Assembly, and then he got himself arrested. And ultimately, he was hanged on 23rd March 1931, which we today call as Shahid Din, and which is coming very soon in the next week, which is by uh, next week only. So that are the major things that we know about Bhagat Singh. But along with Bhagat Singh, lakhs and lakhs of people have died for this country, and we don't even know their names and the deeds and the operations that they survived or perished from the British Raj. But we call Bhagat Singh as Shahid-e-Azam or Prince of Martyrs. And that he is called as Prince of Martyrs for a specific reason. Because Bhagat Singh is not just remembered for his sacrifice, but he is remembered for his ideas, the timeless idea of getting freedom by fighting the oppressors, the timeless idea of questioning the authority, timeless idea for fighting for natural justice and rights of every last individual in the society. So that is why we remember Bhagat Singh, and that is why he was adored in his time, and that's why he is adored in our time also. So basically, when Bhagat Singh got himself arrested, there were few people from his party who became traitor. Okay, so uh, there was some sort of procedure when a revolutionary got himself arrested or he was caught by the CID. Basically, Bhagat Singh's plan was clear. The British government was going to bring few unjust rules, laws in the assembly, and Bhagat Singh and Batukeshwar Dutt went on to protest against these unjust laws. Okay, and they could have built some kind of sinister bomb who could have done more damage, but the idea behind this protest was so much well thought out and planned that Bhagat Singh made such kind of bombs which would do only the blast, the sound, loud sound, and not the actual damage to any individual. So basically, and the same message was printed on the pamphlet which he threw from the visitors' gallery into the assembly, which said, "It takes a loud voice to make the deaf hear." Okay, so after the blast, he and Batukeshwar Dutt politely surrendered to the British police, and there was a plan that Bhagat Singh was going to fight the Raj, going to unmask the unjust face of British Raj in front of people by fighting behind the bars. However, after he was and Chandrasekhar Azad, who was the commander in chief of Hindustan Socialist Republican Association, was principally against this plan because he was some sort of more experienced in revolutionary activities because he was there when the HRA was formed, he was there when the Kakori train robbery was had happened, and he saw all the hangings of HRA revolutionaries, Ram Prasad Bismil, Ashfaqullah Khan, and all that. So he believed fighting by staying outside. While Bhagat Singh said, we cannot achieve mass popularity, we cannot achieve the imagination of public by fighting from outside when people couldn't know what is our ideology. They could see only the actions, and the actions are portrayed as violent actions by the leaders of countries such as Gandhiji and other people. So it was a need that people of this country understands the actual ideology of a revolutionary, the thought process of a revolutionary, and what actual a revolutionary stands for. So Bhagat Singh surrendered after throwing bombs in the assembly and planned a legal fight to unmask the unjust face of British Raj. But a surprising thing came across Bhagat Singh, which he was not actually expecting. Few persons from his party became traitor, and in the British Raj, there were five of them, but and also many public witness, but mainly three people were most important. One was Jay Gopal, who was part of Saunders assassination. Second one was Hansraj Vora, who was also in some part of Saunders assassination. And third person, which was most wretched traitor, most wretched approver of this whole saga, was named as Phanindra Nath Ghosh. He was the resident of Betia, Bihar, and he was the most senior person in the party by age, by experience, and as per his experience and his age, he was made head of Bihar state. Okay, so this person was also member of Central Committee, which was the highest body in HSRA. So Phanindra Nath Ghosh was member of Central Committee and head of Bihar state. When he was caught, he become approver. So basically, there were two things after you are arrested by British police. First, they torture you, and then you became approver, or otherwise you became straightway approver in a way that they offer you something like money, land, and whatnot. So when uh, Phanindranath Ghosh took the pardon, became the approver, he had become an approver without bearing the torture of British police. He directly made a trade with British police by offering all the secrets of HSRA, all the secrets of revolutionary activities, and in return, he asked for some kind of considerable wealth from British Raj, and he became the chief approver in this case. And popularly, he was called as the King's Witness. So, King's Witness, why he was called? Because the case against Bhagat Singh Rajguru was the King Emperor. The title of the case was the King Emperor versus Bhagat Singh Rajguru and Sukhdev. So, after this person became an approver, almost every plan that Bhagat Singh had to fight from behind the bars got somehow apprehended. He was heard that one of the most senior person from his party becomes an approver and starts revealing every secret of the party. So basically, what happened? The CID made a special wagon of Indian Railway, and they put Phanindranath Ghosh, a magistrate, police, and some people from judiciary into that wagon. And Phanindra Ghosh took these people to every place across the India where these revolutionaries had planned or formed and done any kind of activity. So first they took him to Delhi, then they took him to Agra, then they took him to Calcutta, then they took him to Jhansi. And every person um, at every place, Rabindranath Ghosh revealed all the secrets that this is the place where we used to live. This is the place where we learned how to make bombs. This is the place in Jhansi where we tested the bombs. This is the place where he first met Jatindranath Das. And all these kind of activities happened. And Phanindranath Ghosh gave away all the secret. And due to his becoming an approver, another kind of crime was proven against Bhagat Singh Rajguru and Sukhdev and his comrade, which was that they were conspiring against the king. So we need to understand this thing first. There were two major charges against Bhagat Singh and other revolutionaries. One was that they had committed assassination of John P. Saunders, which was who was Assistant Superintendent of Police of Lahore, and the second charge was that these young people, these revolutionaries, were conspiring against the king to overthrow the British Empire. So this second charge was equally grievous as committing a murder of a police officer, and this charge was solely proven by a senior most member of HSRA, which was Pandit Nagos. Now, based on his testament and statement and all the proofs that he had given, the court was convinced in principle, and they declared a judgment of death sentence by hanging to Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev. And the rest of revolutionaries were sentenced to life imprisonment, and some were acquitted, and all that. The result is there in public domain. But this person, the traitors, got to live. Now comes in the picture a simple pre-primary teacher from Bihar. He was named Baikunth Sukul. Okay, so this Baikunth Sukul was born in Lalganj in Muzaffarpur in today's term as the district Vaishali of Bihar, and he was educated till matric SSC, and he was teaching pre-primary class in nearby village called Mathurapur. So this person, Baikunth Sukul, was fan of revolutionaries. He literally worshipped Bhagat Singh. And for what? So Bhagat Singh, he used to read whatever literature was written by Bhagat Singh while Bhagat Singh was alive and out of the prison. So when Bhagat Singh was alive before he was arrested, for some time, he lived in Kanpur under the tutelage of Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi, who was uh, one of the greatest freedom fighters of Indian independence struggle. And he used to run few new Hindi newspapers. And Bhagat Singh wrote the short biographies of revolutionaries into that newspapers using some pseudonym. So this Baikunth Shukl used to read these biographies of bygone revolutionaries, and he was so much impressed with the writer. Later on, he realized that this writer was none other than Bhagat Singh. And then, from when Bhagat Singh was arrested, all of his speeches and statements in the courts, he was thoroughly impressed by this activity. Now, Baikunth Sukul wants to join HSRA, while most of the leaders of HSRA are in the prison or on the run. Now, this person with no prior experience, with no prior links to HSRA, or any revolutionary activities, he is of the same age as Bhagat Singh, born in 1907, tries to join HSRA, and he founds a link. One person from his village named Yogendra Shukla was also a member of HSRA, who was a friend with an associate with Chandrasekhar Azad. Somehow he contacts by Yogendra Shukul, and Yogendra Shukul sees the spark in the boy and arranges for the training of Baikunth Shukul. I mean, you should see. Uh, you should. So this Baikunth Shukul's training went on, and he became a proper trained armed revolutionary. But he was waiting for a mission. What was his mission? That when Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev it was decided that judgment was pronounced that they were going to be hanged till death. The most aggrieved person on the planet was Vaikuntha. Now, he decided that the mission of his life was to avenge his martyrs, his heroes. And my book, The Man Who Avenged Bhagat Singh, generally talks about the psychology of making a revolutionary of Baikunth Shukul and how he avenged the death of his hero, Bhagat Singh Rajguru and Sukhdev. So we should see this area, and this area that after the Bhagat Singh was arrested and when he was hanged in 1931, this period is much ignored by the historians, and there is not much research done specifically into this area or the general relations of traitors, approvers, revolutionary, and the Raj. Generally, we see the time of Raj as only in black and white, that it was Britishers against Indians, that revolutionaries against the police. But there is a strong angle of approvers who had continuously hampered the revolutionary movement time from time. If, even if you see from the time of Anushila Samiti, the movements of Savarkar, the Gadar movement, even in the time of HRA, when the Kakuri arrest had happened, and even in the time of HSRA. So almost every revolutionary movement, strong movement, was derailed by the approvers. And now was the time during the trial of HSRA, that the revolutionaries decided to give a befitting answer to this traitor. So before the Baikunth Sukul came in picture, there was a very major assassination attempt which happened on Phanindra Nath Ghosh. So I would like to tell you about it. It's very interesting, and it happened in Maharashtra, Jalgaon. So what happened basically when Bhagat Singh was in the prison and in the North India, the CID and police were making the revolutionary running for their life. So then Chandrasekhar Azad, the commander in chief of HSRA, decided that we need to expand our operation into the South India, basically Deccan. So he sent Rajguru first to Akola, who was resident of Maharashtra, and then he sent two people, Bhagwan Das Mahor and Sadashirao Malkapurkar, with weapons, guns, few bombs, cartridges, and chemicals for making bomb, with a clear message to Rajguru to expand the network of HSRA in Deccan in Maharashtra. So when these two revolutionaries, Sadashirao Malkapurkar and Bhagwan Das Mahor, uh, deboarded from a train at Bhusawal Junction, they were arrested by excise police who checked their bag inadvertently. So these two revolutionaries were arrested in Bhusawal and they were kept in Jalgaon jail. Okay. Now the British police decided to make an example of this revolutionary in Deccan. They planned to bring Phanindra Nath Ghosh and Jai Gopal from Lahore to Maharashtra only to identify these two revolutionary and give statement against them and somehow make an exhibition, extravagant case against the revolutionary in Maharashtra so as no one from Deccan should dare to go against the British Raj. Now, when Bhagwan Das Mahor and Sadashirao Malkapurkar heard about this plan that they are going to bring uh, uh, Phanindra Ghosh and Jayagopal to Jalgaon, they somehow secretly sent a message to Chandrasekhar Azad asking to provide or smuggle a gun inside the prison so that they could assassinate Jayagopal and Phanindra Ghosh in the court itself. Well, Chandrasekhar Azad heard about the request. He was so much excited and he provided a proper pistol inside the prison. When this pistol was provided to these two revolutionaries, it was provided in part by part in everyday tiffin. And there is also a very interesting incident that renowned revolutionary Bhagwati Charan Mohra, visited by taking a disguise of an advocate who was on the run for Lahore conspiracy case, and he came to visit these people in Jalgaon court to boost their morale. So when the day of trial came, the gun was assembled, the bullets were put in the magazine, and Bhagwan Das Mahor was hiding the gun on his body. And the message from Chandrasekhar Azad was clear that if you can manage, then kill both Phanindra Ghosh and Jayagopal. But if you get a chance, kill Phanindra Ghosh first. So Bhagwan Das' message was very clear. When the case in the courtroom began, the courtroom and the area of court was full from people who had came to see the friends of Bhagat Singh. So Bhagat Singh was so popular in those days. But till the interval for the morning shift, only Jay Gopal gave his statement. So Phanindra Ghosh didn't came in the courtroom. That's why Bhagwan Das hold the gun, and waited for the proper opportunity. In the lunchtime, Bhagwan Das and Sadashiv Rao Malkapurkar was made to sit on the ground, and they were handcuffed, and on the and very near in front of them a tent was constructed which was protected by CID officers, and inside the tent Phanindranath Ghosh and Jayagopal were sitting. When Bhagwan Das asked a constable to open his handcuffs so as he could eat the lunch, and as soon as the constable opened his handcuff, he sprang up, ran towards the tent of traitors. Immediately, a CID sub-inspector came in his way. Bhagwan Das fired a shot into his thigh, entered the tent, fired two shots. One shot went through the left ear of Pandinath Ghosh, and when he shot towards Jay Gopal, the bullet went through his left arm. Both fell down, and Bhagwan Das thought that he had achieved his aim by killing both people. But when he tried to load his gun and fire a third shot, due to some sort of problem, the gun got jammed on third after the third shot, and police apprehended him. And after the police apprehended him, was the mission was failed basically. But this was a most major attempt on the life of Phanindra Nath Ghosh, and he was terrified. Then the people from Jalgaon uh, huddled around the traitors and couldn't and they forced the British police officials that no medical help should reach these traitors. That was the fever among the public. Some sort of riot ensued in the court area, and the police somehow managed to get the traitors out of that court place alive. Then, as the plot continued, in 23rd March 1931, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Sukhdev were hanged. Their bodies were hacked to pieces, and the bodies were put into a truck taken out of Lahore. And unceremoniously, the police tried to burn the corpses of revolutionary on the side of a river. When some villagers spotted the fire, they apprehended. The police ran away, and they got the hacked pieces of bodies back to Lahore. The people of Lahore conducted a proper ceremony for the martyrs. Then, after the martyrs were gone, the remaining revolutionaries of Punjab sent a coded message to Bihar because the Phanindra Nath Ghosh was head of Bihar. The message said, दाग को धोओगे कि दाग को ढोओगे? Will you carry the traitor's plot or will you dare to wash it? At the time, there was no major revolutionary working present in the Bihar area. And Yogendra Shukla was also arrested. He was kept in Bihar prison. When this message arrived in Bihar, most of newspapers and the pamphlet were apprehended by British police. But uh, somehow these pamphlets reached the revolutionary Yogendra Shukla and Baikunth Shukla, and they made his life's mission. So Yogendra Shukla basically called Baikunth to prison and gave him this mission that you have to avenge Bhagat Singh and you have to go and kill this traitor, Phanindra Nath Ghosh. So now Phanindra Nath Ghosh is living in Betia. The government has awarded him 50-acre land and a license to run an alcohol shop, a license to run an arms shop, and he was richy rich, and he was running a great empire, and the British were having a hand on his head. Then Baikunth Shukla made plans with Kishori Prasanna Sinha and Chandrama Singh that somehow we need to make a foolproof plan to kill this traitor. Now, the problem was multifold. First problem was that Phanindra Nath Ghosh was guarded by an armed constable but 24/7. So there was one option that they could shoot him from a distance, like Bhagat Singh and Rajguru had shot John P. Saunders. There was another option that they could make a bomb and throw a bomb on his house that he could die in fire or bomb blast. And third person was to kill him in person. Now, Baikunth Shukla decided to go for the third option that he wanted to kill, he wanted to execute, he wanted to assassinate the traitor of HSRA in person and in front of public. He says that by shooting him, uh, by shooting him in from a distance wouldn't make any sense. By throwing a bomb on his house would unnecessarily kill his family and children who had not done any kind of crime against the country. But I can get him through a personal attack, and and he had committed betrayal in front of Indian public, and his justice needed to be done in front of public only. So now Baikunth Shukla and Chandrama Singh takes out a bicycle, and for around 10 days they rode on the bicycle and reached Betia, uh, and they reached Betia on the occasion of Chhat Puja when uh, most of the people, and it was in Bihar, Chhat Puja is the biggest festival. And after Chhat Puja, in Betia, the shop of Phanindra Nath Ghosh is in the Meena Bazaar. So the Meena Bazaar is a historical place in Betia where the night bazaar was used to happen in 1930s. So British had placed the electrical lighting in the bazaar, and it was a place to go in 1930s, let's say. So after Chhat Puja, the relatives, children, and women and families were enjoying their time in Meena Bazaar. And these two people, Baikunth and Chandrama Singh, goes to this BTR's Meena Bazaar. They spot Phanindra Ghosh sitting on a bench in front of his shop, and Baikunth and Chandrama were armed with a kukri. Kukri is a Nepali dagger which is curved and is around a feet long. They hadn't taken gun, they hadn't taken a bomb, and using a kukri, Baikunth Shukla attacked and Chandrama Singh attacks Phanindra Nath Ghosh and completes the revenge of Bhagat Singh. After they stab Phanindra Ghosh in the skull. Baikunth stabs Phanindra Ghosh in the skull two times so that he couldn't survive after that. So after eventually Phanindra Ghosh died. So after the Phanindra died, Baikunth and Chandrama Singh ran away. Eventually, they were also arrested after 6 months. The British police staged a sham trial of Baikunth Shukla, and Baikunth Shukla was sentenced to be hanged like Bhagat Singh in 1934. So when Baikunth received the sentence of hanging, he was so happy that he said, "I am ready." And it's in record that he was literally glowing. He was so happy for the 2 months before he was hanged. There is a record that his weight increased in the prison. So see, this is some kind of a chain. If you see, Bhagat Singh admired Kartar Singh Saraba. Kartar Singh Saraba died at the age of 19 in Gadar Revolution. He was hanged by the British. Equally like his idol, Bhagat Singh was hanged. Chandrasekhar Azad idolized Bhaga Jatin. Bhaga Jatin died in an encounter. Similarly, Chandrasekhar Azad died in an encounter. Now, Vaikund admired and worshipped Bhagat Singh. Same to his fortune, he got to die like his hero. So, on 14th May 1934, Vaikund Shukla was hanged in Gaya prison, Bihar. Surprisingly, modern India doesn't even remember Vaikund. We have forgotten his name. Basically, if you look at this story, Baikunth is Bhagat Singh's Udham Singh. Like Udham Singh avenged the atrocities of Jallianwala, Baikunth avenged the atrocities on HSRA's revolutionary Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, and all other people. So basically, my book talks about this era. It talks about a suspenseful thriller plot of betrayal, of love, of trust, of patriotism, and ultimately a revenge. So during uh, this period, while writing this book, I found many revolutionaries, many freedom fighters, which are forgotten by today's generation. By in popular psychology, in popular memory, we have forgotten these people. I would like to tell you a say story about uh, a 10-year-old boy, Yashpal. It's a very interesting story. So this 10-year-old boy named Yashpal used to live in Lahore. So Bhagat Singh had a civil organization called as Naujawan Bharat Sabha, and there was a children wing of this party which was called Bal Bharat Sabha. And this Yashpal was secretary of Lahore for this Bal Bharat Sabha. So what was his job? He used to gather the kids below the age of 10 and take out morchas around the Lahore, take out procession and give slogans against the British. And he literally adored Bhagat Singh, Batukeshwar Dutt, Bhagwati Charan Ohra, Chandrasekhar Azad. So what happened when Bhagat Singh got arrested and the British committed atrocities after atrocities in the prison? Yashpal got angry and angry and angry. In 1930, in March or June, he was arrested for taking out a violent procession collecting boys, and these boys used to target lone police officials. See, I'm talking about boys below the age of 10. Now, he was arrested and awarded a punishment of 1 month, but his father, who was editor of newspaper Milap, got him bailed by paying 1,000 rupees. Now, when we come to October 1930, and the judgment was pronounced against Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev, that was death sentence. This boy, Yashpal, got married. And so, what happened? What happened? Yashpal gathered a bunch of boys and literally attacked a constable. Now, police arrested him again, and this time he was awarded 3 months of rigorous imprisonment and 3 months of rigorous imprisonment and 3 years of rehabilitation. Now, these news went to London, and in those times also there were juvenile acts that you cannot give harsh punishment to kids below 14 or around. In those now it's 18. In those time it was around 14 or something. And this was we are talking about kid of 10-year-old. Now, when a telegram came from London appointing a CID inquiry on the incident, and there is a report in Intelligence National Archives about this incident, and the inquiry report says that this boy is very dangerous and he needs to be punished. This is written in that report. Now, when this judgment was announced on the 10-year-old boy Ashpal, the people of Lahore gathered, and they gathered a sum of 10,000 rupees and got this boy bailed. Now we are talking in the time of 1930, when the rate of gold for 10 gram was 18 rupees. When you could get a gold of 10 gram for 18 rupees, the people of Lahore voluntarily gathered 10,000 rupees. And sadly, we don't even remember the name and the deed of this boy Yashpal. There are many people, there are many freedom fighters, which I have mentioned in this book, who are forgotten in popular conscience. There was another very interesting individual who was named Harkishan Talwar. So this boy, Harkishan Talwar, aged around 18 or 19, was so much impressed by Bhagat Singh, and he was seething with anger that what could I do for my country? Now what happened? She understood that the governor of Punjab was responsible. Uh, Montmorency was responsible for making sure that this revolutionary get death sentence, and uh, he decided to assassinate the governor of Punjab. Now he chooses a spot where there is a convocation ceremony in University of Punjab. The ceremony is in Lahore, and this boy takes a pistol and goes to the ceremony and sit in the crowd in third or fourth row. Now the plan is, when the governor of Punjab takes the seat in front of him, he would stand up and shoot him right in the face. But he couldn't shoot governor of Punjab because he sees Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, another freedom fighter, sitting beside the governor. So in case the bullet goes hayways, he could injure the great freedom fighter. That's why he waited. And when the ceremony was over and Montmorency got up from his place, uh, this boy, Harkishan Talwar, stood up on his chair and fired shots. Somehow he missed because his chair was wobbly, and uh, in the process, a policeman died, some sort of uh, another person was injured, and he was arrested. For 10 days, Harkishan Talwar was tortured like anything. Inhuman torture, like pulling out nails, pulling out hairs, and skinning him, and whatever we can imagine that he was tortured. After 10 days, his father was allowed to meet him in the prison. And the first thing, when a father sees his injured son by police atrocities, his Jankishan Talwar's father asked, "How did you miss your mark? How did you miss killing Montmorency?" And Harkishan said that there was fault, there was some fault in the chair, and the chair wobbled when I stood on it, and that's why I missed the mark. Ultimately, Harkishan Talwar was also sentenced to death by hanging, and it was his last wish that Bhagat Singh was hanged in March 1931 and Harkishan Talwar was hanged in June 1931. So it was Harkishan's last wish that he wished to be hanged on the same gallows where Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev was hanged. So had uh, this kind of people fought for this country. This kind of people had a passion that they sacrificed their life for us, and we don't even know their names, less their histories and stories. So it is our collective responsibility. So basically, this form of storytelling, this form of history is popularly called as subaltern history. That not only our major leaders and major parties got our independence, but these people from villages and small towns and revolutionaries and civil servants and all kind of patriots, they fought together, and that is the reason that we are enjoying the freedom today. So these are majorly few stories that I would like to share with you. So basically, this era was filled with passion for getting independence, but not only the independence, the aim was not just political independence. The revolutionaries stood for political, economic, and social independence. Bhagat Singh had popularly said that when Gora Sahibs will leave, they will be replaced by Brown Sahibs, and the condition of common man will be as it is. And unfortunately, it happened as he said, because the main parties who fought for freedom were only looking for political freedom, and without the economic and social freedom, nothing changed in the life of common man. And for the life of common man, this revolutionary fought. And that's why we need to remember and we need to tell and we need to share these stories with generation so that lest we not forget their sacrifice. And I would like to say thanks to Khaki, to Amrita, to Sukhi for inviting me for this talk. I would urge all of you to get a copy of my book. It's getting a thunderous response throughout the country, and this is a story which has been never told. There is so much suspense and thrill in it that you will enjoy reading it from start to end. And I'm open for any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. That was, I really had goosepimples, Abhijit, while listening to your story because such young people with such passion, such patriotism, and also such admiration for their ideals and their idols is something that
Yes.
we, can't even imagine in today's date. And and these lives have been sacrificed
Yes.
for us and for our freedom, and we need to cherish them. So thank you so much for bringing these stories, these lesser known stories in your book. Tell us a little bit about how you started on this journey of researching about Bhagat Singh and these stories, and tell us a little bit about your sources and the places where you got some of your material from.
So basically, it's almost a decade that I translated and worked on Bhagat Singh's jail diary. So when I got his jail diary first, I imagined that it was his about his experiences in the prison. He was in prison for 2.5 years. But basically, there was not a single word about his experience in the prison. It was just a collective quotes from the literature that he read in the prison. He was a very voracious reader. And when I went into it and when I researched the notebook completely, I found out that Bhagat Singh was not just writing quotes from popular leader, he was making a map of independent India, that how he wished to see independent India. He talks about women's liberation, he talks about child labor, he talks about all the things that we are talking today. And that when he was sitting in the prison, subject to atrocities by the Raj. And I was dazzled by this man's intelligence and vision that I took 3 years to work on that book for me. After that book, uh, in around lockdown, I was working on biography of Chandrasekhar Azad. So basically, I am more interested in working on revolutionaries and Maratha history. So when I was working on Chandrasekhar Azad's biography, I came across this individual, Baikunth Sukul, and when my literature agent from the book baker, Suhail Mathur, suggested me that I should explore the option of making a full-fledged novel based on Baikunth Sukul. So I knew the incident that he went on and avenged Bhagat Singh's death, and ultimately he was also hanged. But it was a singular incident. We couldn't make a complete novel out of a singular incident. But when I dig into it, I found numerous assassination attempts on approver and the damage done to the freedom struggle by this approver. You would like to know that this Phanindra Nath Ghosh was responsible for hanging of six revolutionaries, including three Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev, and he was responsible for sending around 50 revolutionaries to Andaman. So this person had literally single-handed destroyed the armed revolution. So, I mean, he was greater villain than the British Raj. British were people were doing their own work. They were ruling the oppressed country. But this person was so much against the. He destroyed the life's work of Bhagat Singh and Azad. So the story was there, needed to be told. And I went to his statement. But basically, problem was while writing this book, there are almost no references for Baikunth Sukul because even if you ask the people from Bihar have forgotten this person. So surprisingly, I found the original trial of Baikunth Sukul, and the main source is his trial, which was conducted in 1934. And from the many statements in his trial, I got the bigger picture: what happened and how did it happen. And then I got into National Archives. I found many reports from Intelligence Bureau, which was secret in those times, but thanks to current government that are digitalized and available to anyone on Abhilek Patel, that is National Archive. So more or less from these sources, I formed the complete structure of this novel.
That's you make a very interesting point there, saying you read about Bhagat Singh's views on uh, children and women and so on. Somehow, in when we read history, it is so single faceted that we only know of one aspect of some of our leaders, and we attribute them with just that one point, but we don't have a vision of their entire personality and all their other thoughts and contributions. So thank you very much for sharing that with us as well, for bringing that out in your book. I hope people will pick up a copy of your book and have a look at it. So tell us, people, please drop in your questions in the chat box if you have any. I have a few questions, so I'm asking them anyway. Tell us a little bit about how can we get these stories now. We are a very young country. We have been around only these 78 years. How do we get these stories to come into mainstream and for children to know, and for history, our regular history books to become richer with these stories?
So basically, such kind of literature has to be promoted excessively by any kind of government or any kind of organizations like Khaki, especially that the people who are working in heritage and history. See, the the responsibility in the individual citizen comes from these stories. I'll tell you how. If we propagate this story, if we can imbibe the story of Baikunth Sukul in the textbook of Bihar history, okay, the Bihar's history student, consider the student from fourth standard, fifth standard, when he will read the story of Baikunth Sukul, he will involve that he will say that a person from my area, my ancestor fought for this country, and this single thought would instill such kind of responsibility in citizens that this such kind of the subaltern history, the point of subaltern history is this, that the freedom is achieved by the collective effort, and the collective effort of citizens today will make the country grow and grow. So and also along with textbook, this story needs to be told in popular media also, like we are discussing on YouTube, like in web series or movies and some sort of platforms. So we need to capture public's imagination instead of making fictional stories. Like if you have seen recently, there is a South Indian movie called Devil. They had created a fictional freedom fighter. Dhanush's movie Captain Miller. It's also fictional. Last year, the movie of Ranbir Kapoor called Samshera. It was also a fictional freedom fighter. But we don't need fictional freedom fighters. There are hundreds and hundreds of freedom fighters, true freedom fighters that have sacrificed our life, and their stories are truly enthralling and thrilling and suspenseful. So we need to find them out and bring them in front of people.
So that brings me to my next question. Do you have plans to make a script with this book and take it out to?
Yes, it's been discussed with few producers, and I hope to announce a good news very soon.
Oh, that is lovely. I hope to hear the good news from you soon, and we all hope that we take, your story can reach a much wider audience. Any
Yes, yes.
plans of translating other languages? This book is in English, right? So,
Yeah, so this book is published by Penguin and it's in English and it's being translated in Marathi right now. In around 2 or 3 months, it's coming out in Marathi. And there are talks going on for translating this book in Hindi and Bengali also.
wonderful. Wonderful. There are no more questions in the chat, so I think that. But I think that this is so inspiring to hear about all the people that you've mentioned. I hope the lives that they have laid down do not go in vain, and we manage to retain our democracy and our independence that they've fought so hard for.
Yes,
And I wish you all success in your endeavor to take this story out. Sumanene has a message saying, "What a spirit of the young patriots! They laid their life down for their ideology. The history and the society should take note of the sacrifices they made." So, Vande Mataram. On that note, I would say thank you to
thank
you
you.
and to our audience who joined us on this lovely Saturday evening. Sabira Fernandez has well said, "Hope their lives don't go in vain and we should bring democracy back." I hope and pray that all of us can work together to keep our
Yes.
democracy intact. More power to people like you who bring out these stories to all of us.